All right, so I'm going to fake begin. Welcome to FluxLite with Aaron and Ben, where we break down digital democracy and the internet in 15-ish minutes or your money back.
Yes, no one's given us any money yet, but we'll give you it back.
Oh, we're poor.
Yeah,
Tonight we have Q&A first. Questions and answers. Our first question is, what are you doing? Ben, what are we doing?
We are, I guess, running the test/pilot of our new podcast about what we're doing at Flux and politics and a whole bunch of things like that, and trying to keep it entertaining and funny and interesting. And also your face is frozen on my webcam. But I mean,
Okay.
well, it recorded for me, so that's what we're doing, and you don't even know what I said, so you go. In the future.
Second question is, what's up with Ben's hair?
I got it cut today. This is looking really fresh. Cool. Yeah, I don't know, it's fluffy. It just is. It simply is.
It's adorable.
I couldn't be
I'm
a
enjoying
politician and a long hair, so that was had to make a sacrifice. No.
Yeah, well, I can't be a politician. This is fine with me.
Yeah, you can quit your job. You can quit your job and give up everything on the hope that you one day get elected. What do you mean? Can't be about it? Anyone can.
No. All right. Next question.
Next question from our readers and viewers, which is us.
Why Flux? Well, I'm going to tell my story first. Why Flux? I am a big-time political cynic, I suppose. You know, the average person. I work for government. I question them deeply every so often. And then I was just like, well, you know, arguing about bits and pieces of the party. And then when I saw an ad on Facebook for Flux, I thought, oh, makes so much sense picking the policies. That sounds genius. So I went to a meeting, joined up. Turns out being relatively young and childless means I've got more time on my hands than a lot of other people to contribute. And here I am involved in Flux.
Okay, now let's go to the next one.
No, go. Why are you involved in Flux?
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know, I just presumed you actually knew, but yeah, I'm a politics and international relations student. And yeah, I was like, I guess on the line of learning about politics and democracy, I guess I'm like a old school commie socialist, am I allowed to say that? Where I was like, you know, we should all just form into groups that all agree to talk to each other and we vote on things that affect us. That was like as far as I went. And then like, yeah, found out that the idea kind of exists, and, you know, and I was like, we should use the internet for this. And then, yeah, kind of found Flux already existed, kind of had its own philosophy ready to go that makes a lot of sense to me. And like, yeah, I guess I've never figured I'd be really heavily creating a political party. I thought I'd maybe be writing about them or something. But yeah, now suddenly we're like creating this thing. It's really cool. So yeah. That's why I just jumped in there. I saw it as soon as I found it. Yeah.
Last question. What are your jobs in Flux?
You go.
Okay. My job in Flux. I did say earlier it tended to be that I just got involved and I just found out that I had more time to give than a lot of other people. And a lot of people like yourself moved interstate. And so when it came to volunteering on behalf of West Australia, yeah, we found that there weren't a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands who were engaged in wanting to make politics a reality. So my job sort of became administrative, sort of overseeing a lot of trying to get things cranking over here. So every administrative job under the sun sort of became my thing, because not politically very knowledgeable. Administrative, yes. So any admin role sort of fell to me. So like the world's most glorified secretary, perhaps. I mean, I think I'm I think that, yeah, revolutionary secretary, that has a nice ring to it. I think technically speaking it was like membership and engagement officer, which means calling, phoning, emailing. Yeah, it sounded pretty rad, but really it's just paperwork and emails. What about you?
Yeah. I started in the same position actually. With membership coordinating in the WA thing to try and get everyone together, and I was terrible at it. I they just constantly would be like, Ben, you need to call these 100 people, or you need to recover all these things, put them together, and bring them here. I'm not. But I ended up doing all the online, end up emailing everyone and making contact people through Facebook and stuff. So I slid into social media manager, I guess. I just did the social media pages. And then since I'm kind of doing the awareness as a sort of working for anything to do with awareness at the moment. Because I'm kind of locked Facebook a little bit. So trying to work into making adverts, getting people to know we exist. And doing podcasts, for instance.
Can you hear me?
Thord.
Is it working?
Yep. Face has Thord. Yep.
Is it working?
Yeah, face has.
It's working.
Yep.
Yes. Thord.
Okay.
Back.
The majesty of editing. No one else will have to experience that.
All right. Next section. So, next section is Educate Erin, where Erin, the primary school teacher, is going to have politics explained to her at a primary school level. This will support everyone else who wants to watch this or has our very lengthy clips. And actually thought, wow, I'm not prepared to commit myself to an hour and a half's worth of finding out more about digital democracy. I can listen to one segment of it in 5 minutes. I mentioned I'm a primary school teacher, so we're going to educate Erin to upper primary school level in general politics of Australia.
Cool. Up to upper primary. You graduate primary school of politics by the end of this.
Yay.
Yep.
So I don't teach it, and being a teacher that goes into everyone else's classes, I never hear what they're teaching. I don't know what their content is, so I'm just clueless.
Yeah, that's cool. Hopefully I can do this and keep it pretty simple, because
politics student teaches the teacher.
First question. Or first edition.
Right.
Yeah.
First question. Tonight on Educate Erin, we are going to learn about what is the upper house. I'm going to mention what I know and probably what is very incorrect. And Ben is going to correct me and teach me ways of Australian. So, upper and lower house.
Yeah, what do you know?
I think there is an upper and lower house. I think the upper house is from what I've heard, the lower house is there's more seats in the lower house and they're for more specific areas. And the upper house is there's less of them and they're for more general big areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the lower house votes on things first and then they go to the upper house. Is that how it goes?
Mm-hmm. In general, yeah.
That's all I know. That's literally zero. That's that. So, what's the lower house?
Cool. Yeah. I mean, hey, that's pretty close. Crucial additions for that. So yeah, the lower house does generally a smaller area. As a rule, they are meant to be more connected to the people. They're meant to come from the rabble. It comes from in Britain, you would have the House of Lords and the House of Commons. House of Commons, obviously full of commoners. House of Lords was meant to be the lords who understood statecraft and understood the entirety of the nation more than the people, who just wanted what the people wanted at the time. And that's meant to be the kick between the two. So lower house, generally tighter little area, and a bit more connection between the electorate itself, who makes demands of government. Like, we want more schools, we want more this, we need this because we're the people, we don't know how to get it, but we want it. Then they get a representative who's meant to be smart enough to try and work out how possibly the government could do it. And then if other representatives who should be in the same situation as them are like, that's a good move, we could use that, they vote on it and push it to the government. In towards the upper house, who I guess are more, I got too techie, damn it. All right. Scratch that.
You're saying there are people who are commoners, like the general people,
Mhm.
and they say what they want to a representative who is then in the lower house, and all those lower house fairly common representatives become their own government.
Yeah, I guess they all come together in like a, dare I say, a make believe of like, if we are the government and we were the government, what would we do? And it goes to the upper house, who are meant to be like working on behalf of the machine of the government rather than the people of the government. And they're meant to be the machine of the government who says, yes, that will work with, that we can actually pass through, that we actually can put into the system, that we can afford, etc.
What's the Senate then?
Yeah,
You
that's the
said
upper
a
house.
Senate.
Sorry, the Senate's the upper house. They're the same thing. Right, my bad. All right. Yep.
No. This is why it's educate Aaron. Aaron's asking questions.
So when they talk about generally, when they talk about Parliament, that's lower house. When they talk about the Senate, it's upper house.
Okay.
Even
so Parliament is the lower house. They decide things that the people want, and they try to write laws or try to make decisions. When they think they've got a final decision amongst all the arguments, they send it to the Senate, which is the upper house, and then they make it official if everyone's agreed.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And and the upper house is bigger and managed by less people, because it's meant to be, those people are meant to I guess signify, more of the structures that are in place across these larger areas. So industry, etc., a little more than the people. And then they review what the people want in the lower house. That's why they are a bigger area with less people that has to come together and all agree on one thing.
So is it thought that by having really big areas vote for one person, that it's going to average out most of the opinions, and you'll end up with someone more
more you got to go with that more status quo, working with the system result, and you're going to get a bit crazier ideas in the lower house.
Like little wildfires. Right, so the upper and the lower house. Let's see if I've got this right now. Let's see if we've educated Aaron.
Yeah.
The lower house has more people. They are from smaller areas. They're supposed to be listening to the people from that area. And then all of those people are called the Parliament, and they make decisions and laws that they think the people will want. If they can all propose something in agreement, it goes to the upper house, the Senate. And because there are less of them, but they are more generalized, if it passes them also, we think that it's something that most Australians would want.
Yes.
Yes, basically.
That's why we have two houses rather than just one.
We've educated Aaron on the upper house and the lower house, and the Parliament and the Senate, which are the same things.
Yeah, it's a tiny little asterisk. In the Senate, they form parliaments. But generally, when you hear people talk about Parliament, it means lower house.
Sounds horribly confusing.
Well, it is, yeah.
On a flux-related upper house and lower house note, when you said the lower house was meant to have more common ideas from the people, like I live in a particular area where I'm like, oh yeah, dude's on fire, like the guy, totally voted for him myself, like he's a dude. He gets voted in endlessly. Everybody loves him. He does exactly what the people ask for. He's got his finger on the pulse, as it were. I can't say I know a lot of people who feel the same way about their local rep, though. And when it comes to hearing the local people, I hear from people, and you read about it, hear it in the news, etc., that they're just towing some sort of party line, and they're not being maybe effective because they're too busy fighting about the policies people want to make in Parliament rather than actually worrying about the local people as much. Like when we had the same-sex marriage plebiscite, and a whole bunch of people basically said, I know my area voted this, but I don't agree with it.
Yep.
So they're not really representing. As soon as you said blah, 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 lower house, getting the ear of the people and getting voted on because of that, I immediately thought to myself, oh, well, that's exactly where Flux would work. Having something digital democracy where even at a lower house level, they were hearing what people actually wanted, then taking that from their area, taking the stats and the data from their area back to Parliament, saying, but this is what people actually want, so this is what we should be doing. Well, my area said that blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Even in a lower house, if that's where they do all the arguing and deciding what the people want before they send it to the Senate or the upper house, that sounds like even a good thing to do there, theoretically.
Yeah, 100%. All of it's, I mean, obviously, all of it's, we're always better because we actually represent the people in our geographical area.
The next section is going to be photo of the week, Flux photo of the week. Ben, our Flux photo of the week is this adorable picture.
Phoning this one in. Oh, I was about to say I could actually phone it in and highlight my phone, but it's this one.
Yeah, it's that one.
I know.
Adorable.
I'll add a good picture, and then we'll have future cuter ones of real people. So,
if you have an awesome picture of something Flux related out in the public, at home, something you think
like this
is adorable, if something you think is Flux worthy, please send it in, and we will have a link pop up on the screen or below of somewhere where you can send it in, and we will put your picture up here to join the multitudes of adorable Flux related things.
And one day we'll give you a thing, maybe.
One day, if we can think of a thing worthy of your contribution to our chat. Oh, will you?
Yeah, give you a hat.
Or someone comes back. Are we back? We're back.
But
so, thanks for tuning in with FluxLite. This has been Erin and Ben.
Good sign off.
I think we win.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Bye.
I think we win.
Bye. Oh, yeah.
Bye.
That was a real thing.